I get a check for like 29 grand. And so I go in, I say, hey, my name's Scott Cugno, I need to cash this check. Why don't you put it in your bank? And I said, well, because my bank's in Florida and they're going to hold it for who knows how long. They go, that doesn't make sense. Let's talk to the manager. Manager comes out, he says, okay. He said, what's going on? I said, look, I need to cash the check. And he goes, okay. So he takes the check and my ID and my credit card and he leaves. Guy comes back and he goes, okay, Mr. Cugno, I have a question for you. He said, how did you get the check issued to you? And I went, well, a guy refinanced his house and he paid me the check. Okay, why? I'm adding an addition onto his house and this is part of the draw. That makes sense. He leaves, he comes back, he goes, what are you going to do with the cash? And I go, are you serious? And he goes, I feel apprehensive about this. And I went, well, I'm going to cash a lot of the guys' checks. We give them checks and they don't have bank accounts because, you know, they just don't. They're laborers and we're going to cash some of their checks. And he goes, okay, that makes sense. I said, well, what are you doing? He goes, well, we're trying to, he said, it turns out that this check was issued on a house owned by a Michael Shanahan. So we're just trying to verify that Michael Shanahan issued the check. That's all. Well, there's a real Michael Shanahan. Oh my God. Well, that's not good. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he leaves. I leave the bank for sure. They're calling the cops. I have to wait. A minute later, my phone rings. I look at it. I don't recognize the number. I pick it up and I go, hello. There's a woman like, hi, this is Kimberly from SunTrust Bank. Is this Michael Shanahan? And I'm like, yes, it is. We have someone here at the bank trying to cash a cashier's check from the title company. And I'm like, okay. And they said, how much was the amount for? I said, yeah, that was Scott Cugno. It was about $29,000 even, I think. And she says, that's right. Thank you very much, Mr. Shanahan. I said, hey, how did you get my number? Because if you called information, you would have got his real number. Oh, we called the title company. They looked on the application that I had filled out and I'd used the cell number. And they said, we just got it off of there. I hope it's okay. No problem. Okay, thank you. Boom. Hang up the phone. 5 minutes later, still, the guy comes out with some woman, counts out the money to me, gives me the money. I stand up and he says, Mr. Cugno, I would like to say that I feel very uncomfortable about this transaction. And I said, well, what is it exactly? And he goes, I can't put my finger on it. And I said, well, it'll come to you.